Hey guys, Ailoupup here. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so today I figured that I would do the Nintendo book tag since I am a big fan of Nintendo. I was not tagged to do this, but I first saw this on Katie Tastic's channel, so I will link her video down below. Also, I am in the middle of moving, so none of my books are actually here as they are already packed away. So any of the books that I will reference in this video will be up here somewhere. Question 1. NES or Nintendo Entertainment System? What is a classic that you want to read? I personally have a lot of classics that I actually want to read and might try to get to next year. Hopefully it'll be the year of classics for me. 1984 by George Orwell, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury are just a few of the ones that I'm hoping to get to and are at the top of my classics list. Question 2. SNES or Super Nintendo Entertainment System? What is a sequel that you liked more than the first? Usually I find that in series, the sequel is generally better than the original, though there are a few that I can name where I preferred the original over its sequel. For this one, I am going with The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman. The Golden Compass was good, but it felt too much like an introduction to me, introducing the world, the characters, and the plot, whereas its sequel felt more like a novel that I wanted to read. Question 3. Nintendo 64. What is a book that revolutionized the way you look at the world? I guess any Chicken Soup for the Soul book would do that for me, which is kind of the reason why I read them and I love them, just because they help me feel a little bit better about myself and the world around me. Question 4. Gamecube. What is a popular book that did not go over so well with you? I don't read a lot of popular books, to be honest, but the closest I can come are Divergent by Veronica Roth and The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, which are books that I enjoyed, although I never did finish the Divergent series just because I DNF'd Insurgent. I just felt like they didn't live up to the hype they were getting at the time. Question 5. What is a new favorite book? I haven't really been reading a lot of new books lately that haven't been part of a series that I have already read a few books in. But one that I have been reading is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I've been listening to the series on Audible, and because it is kind of my first time really listening to an audiobook, I'm not enjoying it as much as I would if I was actually reading a physical book. I think so far I have given each book in the series that I've listened to a 3 out of 5, but once I actually read the physical book, that might change. Question 6. Nintendo Power. What is your favorite graphic novel or series that you want to start? Well, I don't read a lot of graphic novels, and there are a lot of series that I would like to start, and I'm assuming it doesn't just mean for graphic novels. So I will just name a few of those series that I would like to start. Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs, Rune Lords by David Farland, Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer, and The Talon Saga by Julie Kagawa. There are more, but those are just the ones at the top of my list. Question 7. Super Mario. What is a character that you would love to squish like a Goomba? I don't have too many characters that I hated that much, but one that certainly does come to mind is Browd from Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Owl. He was just so mean and arrogant, And I think part of my problem with him was the fact that abuse in books is a really big trigger for me and makes me extremely uncomfortable. But regardless, he was definitely a character I could not get behind. And that was probably the point of him. Question 8. Zelda. What is a new fantasy series that you would consider a modern classic? So I don't read a lot of books, fantasy or otherwise, that came out less than 10 years ago. So the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, maybe? I don't really know. Question 9. Samus-Aren. What is your favorite sci-fi or one that you want to read? I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but one that I've definitely been wanting to read for a while is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I don't know a whole lot about it, except at the time it sounded really interesting. It would also get me out of my reading comfort a little bit, which is another thing that I'm hoping to do more of next year. Question 10. Pokémon. What are some book editions that you want to collect? So I don't collect a lot of particular book editions except for making sure that all of my books look the same if they're in a particular series. But there are a couple that I have had my eye on, and of course they're both Harry Potter related. The first one is the Hufflepuff edition of the Harry Potter series, because I am a proud Hufflepuff. And the second one is the illustrated editions, just because I think having the illustrated editions would be really cool. Question 11. Donkey Kong. What is a book with original characters? So I feel like a lot of the books I read have original characters, and I wasn't really sure what to do for this one, so I'm just going to say The Lioness Quartet by Tamora Pierce, just because I don't feel like those are books I talk about too often. Question 12. Nintendo fandom. What are your favorite Nintendo games or games that you really want? So I have a lot of games by Nintendo that I really enjoy. My current favorite is Zelda Breath of the Wild. That could change, but that is what it is right now. I'm a really big fan of the Zelda and Donkey Kong franchises, the original Donkey Kong trilogy being some of my favorite games of all time. As for games I really want, I have a list as long as my TBR, so I'll just name a few. The new remake of Zelda Link's Awakening and Fire Emblem Three Houses are probably the ones that are at the top of my list. And there you have it. That is the Nintendo book tag. If you want to do this, feel free to consider yourself tagged by me. Otherwise, if you want to, just tell me what your answers would be to these questions down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos from me.